This is Chapter 2 of the Nels SMP storyline. Following the events of the rupture of peace, both sides, British and Canadian, decided to meet in order to discuss the possibility of an alliance in order to deal with the looming threat of the Ender Dragon. The date was January 24th. The three members of the Canadian side met with the two from the British. As a gesture of trust, we met at the British camp in the newly built meeting hall. Both sides were wary of each other at first, fearing a trap, but we soon realized that there was none. Both sides truly wanted peace, at least for now. Me and Ziggy, as the two leaders of the kingdoms, discussed the terms and how to split the rewards of the end fight. All 5 members signed the Declaration of Peace and had a few minutes to prepare everything they needed for the upcoming battle. I supplied the Ender Pearls, and the Brits supplied the blaze powder for our eyes vendor. With our spirits high, we set off towards the stronghold. We crossed huge oceans and survived scorching deserts, our spirits never failing in our one desire: to destroy the Ender Dragon and the threat he posed to all of us. After what felt like hours and a few Wi-Fi crashes, we finally found the stronghold and located the Ender Portal room. Making our last checks and wishing ourselves luck, we activated the portal and entered the dreaded End Dimension. A quick disclaimer here, we were actually worried that the server we were using was going to crash, so this was actually a really stressful moment for us. As it turns out, the server took about a minute to let us into the end, but I guess better late than never. This fight was a lot harder than I had anticipated. The server lag didn't help at all, and the Endermen came close to killing all of us. In the end though, we managed to pull together and slay the biggest threat to both of our kingdoms. We split the XP in equal parts and collected the dragon egg. As soon as I laid eyes on that egg, I felt my lust for power surge into me. I wanted it for myself. Having it in my possession would make me the most respected person on the server, as it's a unique item. I would win the war before it even resumed. But seeing my friends, my enemies, everyone so happy, they were laughing and having fun in the aftermath of our victory, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. At least, not yet. To make sure that I would get it in the end, I suggested we give the egg to Nels as for safekeeping. Nels is the creator of the server and one of the 2 other people that was actually on my side. We traveled back to our lands, and this time we decided to settle the matter of the egg at my bunker that I built under my castle. After quickly building a meeting room, we started discussing who got to keep the egg. Of course, this took forever. I was adamant in my need for the egg, but the Brits were reluctant to let me have it, knowing it would give me a huge advantage. At this point, everyone suspected that the war would continue. The tensions were ramping up again. Before anyone could make a move, I demanded Nels give me the egg. No matter what happened, I needed it. But she refused. Thinking that I wasn't a worthy enough leader, she decided to give it to Ziggy, the more benevolent king. In rage, I killed her and attempted to take the egg by force. Unfortunately, she had already put it in her ender chest, keeping it out of my reach forevermore. Fearing my wrath, the newly respawned Nels escaped to their base and sought Ziggy's protection, as he was the only person on the server who could stand up to me. They knew that eventually I would come, so they took the decision to destroy the egg. When I arrived at their camp, they met me in force and told me what they had done. I was devastated. The egg, the only reason I even considered making an alliance with the British side, was gone. My enemy looked at me, hopeful that I would back off, that the war would end. But sadly for them, the opposite happened. My pain turned into a hot rage which eventually settled into a steady flame of hate that would burn for the rest of my life. I told them that for destroying what I prized, they would watch their camp burn and their friends die. They pleaded, They asked me to reconsider, but I didn't listen. How could I? I didn't need anyone. I could take on their entire army alone. I was alone. AG and Nels, shocked by my selfishness, joined Ziggy to defeat me and hopefully bring me to reason. It was now 4 against 1. And thus begins the third chapter of our story, the fight against tyranny.